The day Clara May Hollis was put up for sale at the county courthouse, the wind carried dust like a warning across the square. It was 1878 in the Texas Panhandle, and no one pretended the practice was noble. When a man abandoned his debts or fled justice, the law sometimes allowed his property to be sold to settle what he owed. Clara was listed as an indentured household labor contract, her name typed small and careful, as if that made it less cruel. Her husband, Earl Hollis, stood off to the side with a crooked smile and a bruised yellow handkerchief tucked in his pocket. Everyone knew Earl drank hard and struck harder. Clara's wrists still bore faint marks from being grabbed too tight. She kept her chin lifted anyway, her brown hair braided neatly down her back, her eyes steady. She would not give him the satisfaction of seeing her fear. Jonah Reed arrived late, his boots dusted white, his hat brimmed low. He was a widower with a ranch north of town, a man who spoke little and worked much. Since his wife's passing 3 winters earlier, Jonah had kept to himself, raising cattle and keeping promises he made only to the land. He had come to the courthouse to bid on a neighboring parcel seized for unpaid taxes. He had not come to buy a woman. But when Jonah read the notice and saw Clara standing there, his jaw tightened. He recognized Earl Hollis from a fistfight outside the saloon years ago. He remembered the man's sneer. Jonah had been too late to stop his own wife from dying of fever. He would not be too late to stop another wrong if he could help it. The bidding was short. Most men turned their faces away, pretending it wasn't happening. Earl called out a few names, hoping for friends, but none stepped forward. Jonah raised his hand and spoke a number that silenced the square. It was more than the contract was worth. It was enough to shame Earl in front of everyone. Earl sputtered, protested, then grinned when the clerk nodded. He leaned close to Clara and whispered something meant to wound. Jonah stepped between them without raising his voice. "You're done here," he said, and the certainty in his tone ended the moment. Clara walked to Jonah's wagon on legs that trembled only after she sat. She did not thank him. She did not ask questions. She stared at the horizon and held her breath, unsure whether she had been saved or merely traded from one cage to another. They rode north in silence. Jonah drove with the care of a man who did not wish to frighten a skittish horse. At last he cleared his throat. "I bought the contract," he said. "Not you. You don't owe me more than the work written there, and when the term's done, you're free." Clara turned, startled. "Why?" "Because," Jonah answered, "some things shouldn't be sold." His ranch sat in a bowl of grass and sky, the house sturdy and plain. Jonah showed her the spare room, clean and sunlit, and left her alone to set her things. The work was honest. Cooking, mending, helping with calves when she wished. Jonah paid her wages on top of what the contract required. He never raised his voice. When storms came, he brought extra blankets without comment. At night, Clara lay awake, listening for footsteps that never came. Slowly, sleep returned. She learned the rhythms of the place, the way Jonah hummed while fixing tack, the way he paused before entering a room as if to announce himself without words. She saw his grief in the careful way he tended a small grave under a cottonwood, where wildflowers grew thick each spring. They spoke more as weeks passed. Jonah told her about his wife, Mary, who had laughed easily and loved the color blue. Clara told him about the dreams she once had, before Earl made them feel foolish. She did not tell him everything. Some hurts stayed buried until the ground was safe. When Earl showed up at the ranch, drunk and furious, Jonah met him at the fence with a shotgun held low. Earl demanded Clara back. Jonah refused. Clara stood on the porch, heart pounding, and watched Jonah refuse again, this time with the law riding in behind him. Earl was taken away, his threats swallowed by the dust. That night, Clara cried, not from fear, but from relief so sharp it ached. Jonah left a cup of water outside her door and waited in the kitchen until dawn. The contract ended in autumn. Jonah brought the paper to the table and tore it clean in two. "You're free," he said. "You can stay as a hired hand if you want. Or go wherever you choose." Clara looked at the torn paper, then at the land beyond the window. Freedom felt wide and frightening. "I want to stay," she said, and meant it. Winter softened into spring. Love did not arrive with fireworks. It came quietly, in shared work and shared silences, in the trust that grew like grass after rain. When Jonah asked, he did not kneel or make speeches. He simply said, "Would you walk this life with me?" Clara answered by taking his hand. They married beneath the cottonwood, the wind gentle, the sky wide. The past did not vanish, but it loosened its grip. On the ranch north of town, two people chose each other, not because of a contract or a debt, but because kindness, once given, had found its way home.